Vanguardian TV. Let's count our blessings this morning on this Sunday. Bless to see another day, to see another Sunday, a beginning of the week. Small things we should be thankful for. Another day of consciousness, even though sometimes we tend to just lose all consciousness in regards to our behavior towards each other. Some of it should be studied. If you listen to the music, it's in the music, it's in the airwaves, it's on the televisions and socials and cable network TV. It's easy to fall into this state of being uncivilized, and you don't care about your neighbor, you don't care about your fellow man, and you'll do all kinds of bodily harm to an individual if that person cross you, rightfully or wrongfully. So I think we need to get back on our consciousness as a group, as people, and I'm talking about as people all together, and try to figure out, is what we doing right now working? Are we're evolving into reverting back to animalistic behavior, and it should be studied. You should be concerned. You have kids killing their parents for whatever reason, seem like no apparent reason. But we don't know what goes through these people's minds and what they deal with. That's why everything should be on a case-by-case basis, and it can't be thrown into, I know they like to compare it through the laws, that you compare cases and that case set a precedent for the future, but at the end of the day, still, you have to look at it as a case-by-case situation, because it becomes, everything is unique. It becomes, if you do that, it becomes just a cookie-cutter sentencing, even though the crime is horrific, in our minds, but we don't know. Again, we don't know what triggered the individual to do a heinous act like that. So that's just one case, but you see it all the time. You see it all the time. You can blame the music, you can blame the industry, the entertainment industry, but at the end of the day, you have to hold yourself accountable. That's not going to fly in courts. So at the end of the day, you just have to hold yourself accountable. And sometimes it's a daunting task to self-evaluate yourself. You might not like what you discover or come up with, or but you have to take a self-assessment as to where you at mentally. Why do I need to take a weapon to a place where I'm partying at? If I think it's that dangerous, or it could be that type of atmosphere or energy, I'm not going. I don't want to be caught up in anything that might trigger me to, to have that tool on me. So I don't want to go places like that. And even though I know people have a good time, you have a good time 9 times out of 10, but still that element is still there. And that's everywhere you go. So you have to be self-disciplined at the same time. I understand people who they need that extra security. They don't want to be out there naked. So that's a reality. But it's like anything else. You have a situation where you have alcohol, you have, all kinds of substances, and you have women, and you just have young women, beautiful women. You have men with high testosterone and ego, and everybody wants to shine. Everyone's showing out. That's part of the goal. They had a case here in D.C. where a guy got shot. They were at a function or an event, and I believe there was some type of situational altercation that developed. But the young man who was a victim in the shooting was, they said, reported by the news, that the local news, that he was protecting a young lady. Now, they didn't go into details of what that protection, what it entailed. Was it she was being harassed by someone, or was it his date or whatever? So it was kind of sketchy there, but apparently the guy he had that altercation with kind of waited for him or caught him outside or whatever. He's going to the garage and just shot him. Now, I don't know if the same guy, I don't know what I'm just saying sketchy details, but he was shot outside of a parking lot, outside of a parking garage. And, they were at this, like I said, an event downtown, but it's horrible. Man, the young man was had a bright future. He had his family. His mother is heartbroken, as you can imagine. His sister was speaking up for him, saying that that he had a future in this. He was doing this. He was doing a whole bunch of things, and so he had things lined up. And one night of just hanging out and just having a good time, and you're doing something admirable, trying to either defend the young lady's honor or whatever that might entail. And then next thing you know, boom, you're a victim. You get shot and you murdered. So this is where we at. Uncivilized behavior. People cannot. They still can't get the concept of conflict resolution. And that's unfortunate. But this is where we at in today's society. It's not just America. It's all over the world. That's what we're evolving to. We're evolving to just justice right then and there. I got disrespected. I got to end it right there. And it's crazy. It's crazy. There's no more diplomacy. There's no more, there's no dialogue, and what's going on? Did I offend you? What happened? What's going on? Some people don't have a clue. They might have bumped into somebody accidentally, and that person carrying a grudge. Now you got a beef with this person. I'm like, it's too much to keep up with if everyone's acting like that. So, but it's been like that forever. But it seemed like I don't know, maybe because more people have cameras. Is more situations are because of the social media and just the age of technology. People, it's more and more. A lot of people are doing things for clout too, which is crazy. That is a crazy thing. I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna film a murder or a fight which led to a murder. Just had a young man and his mother get the young man was allegedly street racing, allegedly something happened, killed the guy, accident wise, street racing or whatever. I don't know, but the mother was trying to aid and assist them out of the country. I don't know where they were going, but they got caught in Miami International Airport, the airport down there. So it's wild out here, man. It is wild. And it all comes to the psychology of the individual. You know what I mean? Everyone is made up differently, different physics, different chemicals in their system, and different whatever it is. You know, our mentals are just so complex, and like I said, we don't know what triggers anything. Someone could already be um, just on the cusp of going off. And one thing just happens and it just triggers a whole series of events. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are walking around unstable. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is what it is. And they're dealing with emotions that we have no idea what they're going through. We're dealing with our own emotions. We can hardly recognize our own emotions before we can recognize or identify someone else's, especially a stranger. But it is what it is. This is where we at. We have to be careful. We have to be careful. And we want to have a good time. We want to go out. We want to enjoy ourselves. We work hard. We want to relax and have a good time. But at the same time, you still want to secure your safety too. You want to take precautions. It's wild out here. But you see Trump. He's got DC. He's putting a high police presence and federal presence as far as law enforcement in DC because of the crime. I mean, Trump says that it's Washington DC is the most dangerous city in the world. Now, I don't agree with that because the statistics say through the local government is that the numbers as far as crime has gone down, especially violent crime. But he's the president. When the president says something like that, of course, he's going to get that focus and going to get that light, So I'm just saying, we just have to be careful and tread lightly when you go out here, especially going out and about. But that's every day. Stay alert. Stay on point. Peace.